So let's talk about Tupac.
My man.
Who is a fan of Tupac?
Oh,
Big time fan.
Huge.
Yeah, you're a fan of Tupac.
I mean, yeah. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I grew up listening to like Alanis Morissette and Spice Girls, but like Tupac was also a big part of culture when
Yeah.
I was growing up.
Yeah. You got Spice Girls, you got Tupac. Like
A little bit of everything. ADHD.
So I don't know if you guys heard the news. 27 years unsolved mystery. They finally arrested the killer of Tupac. Now there's been a lot of documentaries and a few movies and TV shows about Tupac and his death. And many times I've heard of Keefe-D or what's his name? Yeah. So they caught the man 27 years ago. Tupac only lived for 25 years, right? So he accomplished a lot in his life. So here's this article here. Tupac, after 27 years, an arrest in unsolved murder of a hip hop legend. Finally caught the guy. Does anyone have details of the arrest or what happened?
I know that Keefe-D released a book outlining details from the crime, which is,
admitted he was in the vehicle
not
at
suspicious
the
at
time
all.
of the shoot.
And so people like close to the case were able to say like, well, hold up, how does he know this?
Yeah.
And as if that wasn't enough, he kind of made videos to promote it, to bring more attention to this book, which called out his knowledge of this crime.
Interesting.
So I think it gave people who were kind of working on the case a little more insight, and I guess they were able to push through a warrant to search his place, and they were able to arrest him based on that.
What a dumb move! Like you have the guy basically
Right.
admitting to murder in like many ways and just broadcasting it.
You're laying low for 27 years. I mean, he just got
Well,
bored.
isn't there a statute of limitation though? Like, is it not 25 years or is it 30 years? Like maybe.
Well, it depends probably.
But if he's arrested, I
he
guess.
got arrested, or the murder happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I'm sure Nevada has their own kind of statute of limitations, but possibly.
Yeah, there's no statute of limitations.
There's no
No?
laws in it,
Okay.
I guess.
No.
So yeah,
But
go
they're
ahead.
saying he provided the gun, so maybe this would be an opportunity to find out who pulled the trigger.
Oh, I think they know that.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, I think Pataka died.
Okay.
So now it's sort of like,
Okay.
it's fallen
So I've heard a lot
off.
of theories, like Puff
Or-
Daddy, P
Sorry,
Daddy. Yeah, go ahead.
don't mean to cut in. You just jogged my memory. I think what was said was he's now confessing
Yeah.
that the person who pulled the trigger is dead.
Oh.
Oh, is he?
So
It was
I
his
think
nep-
so.
I think it was his nephew, because I think
Yeah.
Tupac and his pals kind of attacked the nephew, and then.
Anyway, I think we can all agree a life taken way, way too soon.
Now, I was the biggest Tupac fan. Like, he was my guy. I learned. It's funny as it might seem, like he was a hip hop artist. He was several years older than me, but he had a huge impact on my life. He had like so many like deep sayings, a lot of mystery around his death, a lot of his songs. Changing his name to Machiavelli, which is basically an Italian politician, I believe, that basically faked his own death to get a political advantage, and then he came back alive. And he would always talk about, getting shot, getting killed, right? So all these like prophecies he made happened to be true. It's just a lot of, conspiracy around his murder. Maybe he's not dead. He's living on an island. A lot of conspiracies around it, and
Maybe they'll solve Biggie's death.
well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, the murders were about 6 months apart, and I think that's next. And you've heard a lot of theories about who ordered the killing. But I think I'd love to talk about Tupac and his impact on society in terms of some of the work that he's done, and he has a cult following. And I don't know if you guys feel him dying early, like some of the great ones, the greatest of all times. It itself has like a mystique about dying, or at least leaving, or retiring. Obviously, if you asked him, you would have wanted to be here, and he was around. Died in '96. It barely came out. There was no .com, public companies. He probably didn't even have internet, right? Even though he was a wealthy guy, probably by the end of it. But what he accomplished in 25 years of living incredible, but does, and he even said, I want to die a living legend, right? That was one of his lines. Dying at a young age, at the top of your game, how much does that have to do with, the mystique?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Dying at the top of his game.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't have the opportunity to turn into a washed up rapper trying to hold on and do a reality TV series and that sort of thing. So he went out at the top of his game, and that's what he's remembered as, right? Somebody who provided just an unprecedented politically charged conversation about what was happening in areas of prominent U.S. cities that the vast majority of people have no knowledge of.
Right. Absolutely.
And in a way that was embraced by, North American, worldwide culture.
Yeah.
Right?
But he still has that cult following, you know what I mean? Like, whether it be social media, like, people wearing his shirts, still representing. As soon as I mentioned Tupac, and somebody else is like, "Oh, you're a fan," like all of a sudden, like you resonate right away. It's like, "Oh, and then he has that following that I don't know many artists, like maybe the Bob Marleys and the Hendrix and like maybe the Beatles. Few musicians ever reached that pinnacle of that, like forever, right? Living, transcending society, transcending your age, and being like a timeless, limitless kind of figure, right? So.
But let's not forget. I mean, a lot of his lyrics were misogynistic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But nevertheless, a reflection of his life experience and what he was experiencing as a society in which he lived.
Right.
Right?
And he gave those communities a voice, like in an international level.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is really too bad that he was taken so young, because imagine what he could have done in 27 years, in the last 27 years.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I sometimes don't believe like he was 25 years old. Like I was thinking when I was 25,
Right.
and what I like, very few things I accomplished. And he had so many albums, so many records. He got like it almost sounds staged. Like when he died, supposedly I think the last like 3 or 6 months before he died, he recorded like 112 songs. Like people take like months to record one song, and he like basically like every day he was like new song, right? Almost knowing that he was gonna die, right?
Yep.
So it's too bad, but glad that they found the killer's confession or whatever, and at least one, some closure for the family and all his fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.